Good evening, guys. Good evening, good morning from whichever region you are. I hope you guys are able to hear us clearly and you're also able to see the screen. So, welcome to our webinar. So, we will be talking about requirement elicitation, one of most important and primary topic in the automotive industry, in the software system development, software development. Uh, yeah, so this would be the main focus of our webinar. If you have followed us on different social media platforms, you must have also seen that we had conducted a webinar on carAISuite itself, the whole tool, what this carAISuite is all about, and also how AI can support or how can you leverage AI in your organization, in your day-to-day work to, make things more productive and make things more efficient. So that was one of our first webinars. So today we deep dive into the next topic. So quick introduction from my side. My name is Palgun Upadhyaya. You can call me Palgun. I am the operations person at Carniq. I head the operations department. To give a brief background about myself, more than a decade of experience in the field of embedded and also in the automotive development. I've been involved in many different roles, uh, cybersecurity trainer, cybersecurity manager, inside the development as well. I've been working with a lot of premium OEMs from Germany, from England, from UK, US, all over the world. Yeah, and mainly predominantly worked on three main areas: cybersecurity, functional safety, and ASPICE. So that's a brief about me. Maybe a quick introduction from your side, Ronak.
Hello everyone, my name is Ronak Godasra. I am CTO at Carniq and yeah, I am responsible for all the technical activities at Carniq, including tool development and brief about my background. Like I have several years of experience in automotive industry in complete software development life cycle with the AutoSAR, cybersecurity, function safety, and so on. So yeah, that's brief about me.
Thank you, Ronak. So perfect. So that's a brief about uh, the speakers for today. We will be taking you through a series of points where we talk about the requirement elicitation. We also have an exciting demo as well. So we this is a pretty exciting webinar where we are also quite excited to show a live demo where you can see the tool working as well. This is something that we will be showing. So to quickly look into the agenda of today's topic, going on to the next slide. Yeah. So I'm not sure how many of you are new to the webinar. So to make sure that we cover everything, I just quickly will introduce about who we are, about Carniq, and what we do. And then we will jump into the important topic of today, requirement elicitation. So I'll be first briefing you about what is the importance of requirement elicitation, uh, following with what are the current challenges that are faced in the industry uh, in the field of requirement elicitation. What kind of problems are there? What kind of challenges the OEMs have to solve? What kind of challenges the development partners have to solve? So this is something that we will look into. Then Ronak will take you through the Carnic way of doing requirement elicitation and how we have leveraged AI to do the requirement elicitation. So this is something that we will look into, and also a brief overview about the carAISuite tool itself regarding the requirement elicitation, how requirement elicitation is inbuilt in the carAISuite tool. Then we jump into the core part of the webinar, that is requirement elicitation in live action. So we have the demo. Then following it up, we have a couple of customer stories, and we have the Q&A session at the end. Moving on to the next slide. So colleagues, you already have access to the Q&A sessions. So please feel free to drop in your questions during the webinar itself. Whenever you have any kind of questions, feel free to post your questions. Also, I strongly urge all of you guys to also upvote if you like some other questions as well. You never know. I mean, by the end of the time, I mean, the webinar is for 1 hour. So if based on the time, we will pick the most upvoted questions and we'll try to cover as much as possible. So that's a bit about the Q&A session. So with this, we will quickly jump into the quick introduction of Carniq itself. So people who follow us, you must have already known that we are located in two locations. So we are headquartered in Munich, Germany. We are in a German-based. We have the footholding in Germany, and we also have a development center in India. So predominantly, we work on the designing part, and the services part is handled in Germany, and our Indian subordinate company is mainly the R&D center where the AI, all the magic of the AI happens on the carAISuite tool. So that's a brief overview of where we are and where we are located. Moving on, the mission of our company. So, as mentioned previously, Ronak also mentioned, and in our previous webinar, you must have heard about our CEO as well. So we have been in the industry for more than a decade, and we have been working on different projects in terms of solving the challenges in industry. Right. So as I mentioned previously, in the field of cybersecurity, in the field of functional safety, in the field of ASPICE, complete software and system development. What we predominantly saw is there is a need for innovation where the engineers have a lot of creativity and they want to build a really nice product, but at the same time OEMs would ask for compliance as well. So there are a list of compliance that you need to adhere for. So be it cybersecurity, be it ASPICE, there are a list of compliances for which it has a lot of processes that needs to be followed. And we have seen in the industry that this takes a lot of time, and this also costs a lot of money as well. So living through this problem, this was our motive to be behind forming our organization, Carniq. So here what we want to do is to bring in such technology to the developers, to the tier ones, to the OEMs, where they can mainly focus on bringing very new, very innovative products, and we would help them in meeting the compliance part. So this is where our main mission is to expedite the security of the next gen vehicles by leveraging AI. Since AI, these days have been taken the limelight around the world. So there are a lot of things that we could do, and this is what we predominantly want, and this is what we want to deliver to our customers as well. So this is the main motto and the mission of our company. Moving on. Uh, Quick overview of our business model. So two areas we have. One is the cybersecurity services, and the other one is the cybersecurity product. So in the cybersecurity services, moving on to the next slide, we have various services. We have moving on to the next slide. We have cybersecurity management, cybersecurity trainings, cybersecurity development, performing Tara. So these are the various services we do offer. And coming to the cybersecurity products, we have two main products that are there in our portfolio right now. Right. So these are the main services that we focus on. As I mentioned, cybersecurity analysis. So there are various analysis methods we are there, and cybersecurity development, cybersecurity management as well. We are also involved in cybersecurity verification and validation, different penetration testing, fuzz testing, etc., and also cybersecurity training. Going on to the next slide. To the cybersecurity for our products. So we have mainly two products. One is the carAISuite and the second one is the car security. So car security is mainly a process landscape tool, also filled with a lot of AI functionalities, which has been there for more than 2 years now in our portfolio. And the main important highlight of today's webinar is our carAISuite tool. So this tool, we'll also give a bit of what this tool about in the future of the webinar. But to give a gist of what carAISuite tool is, it's an AI-based automotive engineering compliance tool where it helps you generate documents, it helps you in compliance, it helps you in elicitation, it can do a lot more things. So these are the two main products that we have at Carniq. Moving on, coming to the important topic of today, requirement elicitation. So when we talk about requirement elicitation, be it ASPICE or be it just the system development or the software development, requirement elicitation has a very important role. In the ASPICE V model 3.1 or 4.0, there is an engineering process group called SIS1 where elicitation of requirements comes into picture. Now, what is the importance of elicitation of the requirement? What does happen in the requirement elicitation, and what could go wrong if you don't do requirement elicitation? The most important thing is when you need to perform the requirement elicitation, you will be defining clearly the need of the customer. Of course, whenever you win a project, let's say your customer provides a functionality, an ECU that has to be built. There will be some bunch of requirements that your ECU needs to perform such and such action. So let's take an ADAS system. So your ECU has to perform the automated driving assistance system, maybe lane detection or collision avoidance, etc. Now there are a bunch of requirements that there are a bunch of things that your customer would expect. And how would they communicate this? They would communicate this in a list of requirements. Most important thing, whenever there is a communication between two entities, I would call as two entities, there will always be a perspective that comes into picture. So as an OEM, if I write down certain requirements, I would be thinking from the OEM perspective. I wouldn't be thinking from a developer perspective. And when I think from the OEM perspective, of course, I'm going to think the whole ADAS ECU as a black box and then say, okay, these are the functionalities. But then as a developer, when I put on my developer hat and start trying to implement this, there will be a lot more questions that comes into picture. Okay, what about this? What about this? What about this? So if we am talking about collision avoidance, what could be my tolerance level? What should be my reaction time? So all these things will start coming up. So this is where it becomes very important that we understand the need of the customer, and any kind of clarifications should be upfront clarified with the customer. So this is one of the most important benefit of having the requirement elicitation. Now, along with these benefits, the other added benefits. So as you can see, there is improved communication. So once you perform the requirement elicitation, so you get the list of requirements from the customer, you do the requirement elicitation, then you start getting these questions, and before you start developing, then you will start asking these questions, which will automatically help you build a clear communication channel with the customer. So the two entities that are involved in the complete life cycle will start opening up a transparent communication channel where informations can be exchanged, information can be clarified, information can be made sure that the two entities are on the same page, and finally it would lead to delivering the product that your customer expects. Then ensuring the necessary compliance. So whenever we talk about automotive products, compliance has a big role to play. We talk about functional safety, we talk about cybersecurity, we talk about ASPICE, we talk about environmental compliances, we talk about mechanical compliances if there are mechanical parts involved. So there are a bunch of compliance documents that we'll have to adhere for. Now in the requirement elicitation, you would also discover what are all the different compliances you need to adhere for. So this is another prime important advantage of requirement elicitation. Moving on, it prevents rework. Of course, if you follow the first 3 points, of course, if you end up not, identifying the main pain points, then you would end up doing rework. So requirement elicitation, make sure that you define everything clearly upfront, communicate, agree with your customer so that during the development or at the end of development or even sometimes after the development when you go to post production, rework will be reduced. And when you start having reworks at during the development, it's still accommodatable, but when it is during the post production, the cost would automatically increase, and it's a no win for either your customer or yourself. So that's one of the advantage of having the requirement elicitation. Moving on to the other points, identifying risk. So when you do the requirement elicitation, you already start thinking of, okay, so these are the required features, how my product should look like, what kind of hardware should I use, can it become a risk for me, what can be the potential pitfalls that I need to look for, should I consider a microcontroller with x amount of memory, or should I go for an upgraded version. So all these things will come out during your requirement elicitation itself, because you are already understanding the requirements in a much deeper level. And of course, planning and estimation becomes easier, because once you have the details, you will know what are the hardware requirements, what kind of hardware you need, what kind of technologies you need, what kind of tools you need, how many human resources you need. So this would help in planning, estimation, and communicating this to the customer. And finally, once you have things clearly defined on the paper, agreed with your customer, it automatically drives you for customer satisfaction, because you would end up delivering to your customer what exactly they need, or sometimes even more than what you need, what your customer needs. So this is where the customer satisfaction of course improves. In turn, the business will also improve, because once your customer is happy, then of course they would want to continue working with you. So there's a famous quote from Incos, which mentions about requirement elicitation isn't a formality, it's how you engineer understanding. Without it, you are building blind. So it's a very famous quote where it has been used in the industry often, sometimes during the ASPICE training as well, to make the organization understand how important requirement elicitation is. So how do you engineer your understanding itself of the requirements of the complete requirement document from your customer is what requirement elicitation is all about. And if you end up not doing it, as it is clearly mentioned, you are doing a blind building of your product. So that's a key takeaway from this slide, an importance of requirement elicitation. Moving on to the next slide. So we talked about requirement elicitation. What are the importance? Why do we need to do it, etc. So since I have already told about the importance, of course, I'm not the first person to realize all these things. This requirement elicitation technique has already been in the industry. But why are we talking today? Why are we still talking about requirement elicitation? Since it's already there, what is provoking us to talk about requirement elicitation? What are the organizations facing? What kind of hurdles organizations are facing when it comes to requirement elicitation? Now, if you are in a typical tier one, tier two industry, you would have seen that OEMs, when they provide stakeholder requirements or the customer requirements, in German they also call as Lastneft, you would get a bunch of requirements. Sometimes I've seen requirements, number of documents go up to almost 90, 100 documents, and each of these documents, mind you, will be of around 100 to 200 pages. It is practically impossible for you to go every line by line. Now, we couldn't, of course, we cannot blame the OEM as well, because OEMs, they have different product lines. It's not just one issue, they have different lines of product for which they have to start writing down the requirements. So they bunch all the requirements, and then you will have to pick which is applicable for your particular issue. So this is where they deliver all the things, and you have a high volume of requirements. This is the most primary and the most important challenge that the organizations are facing right now. There's a huge influx of documents, the requirement, and you have a critical timeline, critical budget. In order to meet that, you wouldn't be able to look into all the things. You would look into the most important things, and if you miss one or two also, you will end up missing critical requirements, which will probably come back to us at the end of the project, and then the customer will say, hey, you have missed out this requirement, which probably will end up in costing us more, redesigning the whole thing, in some cases redesigning the whole architecture, which will cost, of course, a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of efforts, and then not meeting the customer deadline. This is one of the primary challenges that is there in the industry for requirement elicitation. Moving on, of course, there are different complex regulations and compliances. A live example that I can think of is in my career, I had one of the project for one of the OEMs that we were doing. It started in the year 2021, if my memory serves right, and it was a normal project. It was a functional safety project, and there was no cybersecurity involved. So the OEM had decided that they would justify the cybersecurity goals. It was not really that critical for cybersecurity. It so happened the original plan of the OEM was that you get the series of production by 2022 end of the year, and you put the product on the market. Everything good. But what happened is, of course, there are unforeseen risks because of which you had to increase the timeline. So it didn't happen in 2022. It went into 2024. Before we could deliver the product. In between, what happened is the UNECE decided to change the regulation, saying that if you are providing a product onto the market post 2024, you need to comply to cybersecurity regulations. It doesn't matter whether it is applicable for you or not applicable for you, you need to still comply. Which meant that because of this new introduction, a new set of regulations, a new set of compliance came into picture. So these are another list of challenges, another set of challenges that the industries face. So the timeline increases, the industry, of course, the industry will not wait. So there are new set of compliances because they have to ensure that you don't end up being a victim of different threats, cyber threats, because cybersecurity is a critical topic, and you are forced to comply to much more complex regulations. So this is another important challenge. Then internally linked to the high volume of requirements, of course, increased manual effort. So when you're trying to do the requirement elicitation for the core features, you would do, but then you would, for the supporting documents, when you start doing the requirement elicitation, you need more manpower, more manual efforts, because you have to for each and every requirement, whether it is an information or a requirement or a functional requirement, you have to analyze and deduce what is the right relevant information for the development. So this increases the efforts as well. Then, of course, we have time-consuming documentation because increased manual efforts internally increase the time consumption as well. Then, most important thing is communication gap. So when the requirement elicitation is not done, as I mentioned previously, the biggest challenge is that the OEMs write the requirements in certain way, but the developers understand in a different way. Once there is no requirement elicitation, and then there is a huge gap, then people start not implementing in the right way, and then it creates a communication gap. Also, there can be ambiguity in the stakeholder requirements as well, and you need to clarify these questions. So this would help. This is another challenge, and in turn, all your time and effort will turn into money, so it becomes expensive. So these are the main challenges that are faced in our current industry in the requirement elicitation. Moving on to the next slide. So I will hand over to Ronak, who will now explain you how we do it at Carniq. Over to you, Ronak.
Thank you. So yeah, like as we've seen so far, recommended elicitation has a major impact on the complete project. So that was one of the reason behind also considering this feature in our carAISuite tool. So what carAISuite will help here is so to enable rapid and systematic development and compliance using AI. So here stakeholder requirement is generally done at the starting of the project, or like that is the major role at the starting of the project. So when the project kicks off, there will be several inputs, as we have seen, like the last maps provided by the customer and so on. So all those can be provided as an input to the carAISuite tool, and using carAISuite tool, we can perform requirement elicitation, and we'll get the elicited requirement results as a output from the tool, and that can be used to like having different understanding of the requirements. It also segregates between different departments, which are relevant, not relevant requirements, and so on. And that can be used to easily kick off the project. So yeah, that's what is mentioned here, and using carAISuite tool will help to it will help in systematic and reliable results for the requirement elicitation part. So now going to the next slide. So as I explained, yeah, that was one of the idea also behind uh, developing this carAISuite, but that is not the only one of the feature. So in carAISuite, as we mentioned, it is a suite containing different tools. So that is like in this slide, I'm showing there are major use cases, what is covered in the tool. So one part is generation. So generation, we talk about generation of engineering or process related work products, which are required in complete project life cycle. For example, system requirements or software requirements and so on, which are engineering work products, and also some of the process relevant work products like cybersecurity or SPICE or function safety relevant work products. So that is one of the use case for the carAISuite tool. Second one, as we already seen, like the requirement elicitation. So where we can perform the requirement elicitation of the stakeholder requirements. And the third one is about the compliance part. So which is like very much required by all the standards or the regulations. So here tool can perform the reviews of several engineering and process relevant work products, and it can give the compliance check against provided uh, yeah checklist. So we can see like uh, how much our work products are compliance with the given regulation or the standard. So yeah, these were main capabilities of the tool, and going to the next slide. So here we have tried to show a bit of architecture, how carAISuite works. So at the left side, we can see development environment. So as you might be aware, generally in all the development projects in the automotive, there are several tools used. For example, Git or SVN and so on for the version control, and also Polarion, IBM, and so on for the requirement management and so on. So not only this, but yeah, there are also more than this. Several tools are used. So this development environment can be integrated or used with our carAISuite tool, which is another tool that is on right side in the blue box. So here, this like currently existing tool can be integrated with carAISuite tool, or also we can work with the exports, like we can export whatever required documents, and it can be imported into carAISuite tool, which is shown here. And also we supports like various standard format like PDF or XML, Word, Excel, and so on as an import. And also the output from the carAISuite tool can be imported in existing development tools. We also provide export in standard way like in the Excel or HTML so on, so which can be imported in existing development tools. So now what happens inside carAISuite tool is whatever inputs are provided, we process it in our pre-processing stage, and we also use several LLMs and also the backend which act as a databases to store several informations, and we perform all the required activities like as we seen before, like maybe generation parts or maybe recommend generation, or also the compliance part about checking the compliance and so on. So that is performed using all this LLM and processing strategies, and the processed output is post processed, and the output is provided from the tool which can be used in the development environment. So this is what happens in our tool in brief. Also, as we have shown here, like there are several components in our tool, like backend or the LLMs and so on. So that can be hosted on private cloud or on-premise servers based on the need of the customer. So yeah, that was a bit about architecture of carAISuite tool. So going next. So yeah, here comes the demo. So we'll see the demo of requirement elicitation, how it works with our tool. So let me share my screen again with opening the tool. So I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the UI of our tool. I have started it. So when we run the tool, it is our it is desktop based application. So yeah, we can start from the desktop, and when we start the tool, we give the option to create the project and load the existing project. But for our demo, like we will be creating the new project as this is the first time when we run the tool. And when we go to the new project creation, so as also we have seen our slide, there are main three use cases: generation, elicitation, and compliance. So here we will select the elicitation as we are seeing the demo of the requirement elicitation. Then user has to give certain inputs to create the project, like the username, the project name, uh, and the project path where this project needs to be created, and the issue name, and also the brief description about the issue, what the issue does, and so on. So for our demo purpose, I'm using tactile sensor issues, and I'm giving the brief information what this issue is about. Then we can go next. Then here, as we seen, like the tool supports generating or compliance or the elicitation of several work products. For the elicitation, we can select the stakeholder requirement elicitation as a work product, so that it will be generated from our tool. Then we can go next. So here we have to provide certain inputs as we have seen in our slide, like whatever project kickoff inputs. So for our demo purpose, we have created dummy stakeholder requirements for tactile sensor issue. So I will select that. And in the document type, as I mentioned, like this is the stakeholder requirement. So we can select that, and then we can import into our project, and then we can create project with this input. We can also input n number of documents based on the need. So once project is created, we can see this the project explorer view, and we can see all the documents which are provided as input in the project, and also our tool starts processing whatever inputs are provided. So if you can have a brief look into the document. Yeah, so as I mentioned, like this is the PDF document I created for our demo purpose. So this looks like standard customer requirement or stakeholder requirement documents, how they will write with several requirements about what is this issue about, what are the standards they have to follow, some processes they have to follow, and so on in the development, and also brief about technical requirements about how the issue should work, the functionalities of the issue, and so on. So this is what we have created for the demo. Then yeah, so now the input has processed. So we supports like two things here as of now, like feature extraction and the generation of stakeholder requirement. So we can have a look first into the feature extraction. So we can select the document, and we can click on the feature extraction. So that shows all the features or the sub feature which were extracted from the stakeholder requirements, like yeah, control unit design and some of the interfaces of that, what are the signals used, and so on. Some of the environmental related features like water resistance and so on. So this helps user to know like what all things they will have to work on in complete project, and they can know like, yeah, what all features they have to develop for this complete issue and so on. And another thing is actually about the stakeholder requirement generation itself. So here we can click on the generate work product. With that, the generation of the requirement itself will start, and the progress will be shown below, like, yeah, initializing and so on. So with that, we can see currently tool is ongoing. So it will take a couple of minutes to process all the input and generate the stakeholder requirements.
So just to add on to what Ronak mentioned, so he mentioned about the extract features. So this is a very key feature in the requirement elicitation. So you could use this in multiple phases of the project. So the first phase that you can use is when you are trying to do an RFQ, request for quotation, where you are trying to win the project, and then you have to analyze all the documents. You can use this extract features to identify what are all the features that the customer is expecting at a high level, with along with the list of sub features. If you have a bunch of documents, as I mentioned, one of the challenges in the industry is that you have 90 to 100 documents from the customer. You could use this feature to get a summary of all the features that are to be developed for a particular project. So this is one major advantage of extract features, where you can also try to upfront clarify with the customer that this is the scope of the project. The second advantage of having this feature is when you have a particular requirement elicitation done. So normally when it is a cybersecurity project or a functional safety project, parallelly you also need to start your functional safety or cybersecurity analysis, which means you need to start your TARA, you need to start your functional safety analysis at various level depending on the project scope. Till the requirements are not clear, you wouldn't, I mean, the functional safety or the cybersecurity team wouldn't normally start this. But in with this extract feature list, what you can do is you can export this list of features that are extracted and provide it to these cross-functional teams, so that if there are some platform modules as well, I'm talking about functional safety, cybersecurity, but if there are some platform modules as well, which they want to build something, like for example, if there is a diagnostic module, which is a platform module, you could also provide this to your platform team so that they can start analyzing the requirements even before there is a continuous flow of getting the system related requirement or the software related requirement. So this is another advantage of this extraction of the features. Of course, there is also another advantage. The other advantage that once you have this list of features, uh, you could also generate relevant work product, but this is outside the scope of today's webinar. Do follow us, where we will in future also host webinars for generating different artifacts, like the software requirements, etc., where you could also select which feature you want and then generate. Since the development these days happen in a agile way, where it's an iterative approach. You do not generate everything in a waterfall method, in a conventional waterfall method. So you could potentially check only those features which your customer is asking for priority, or which you think based on your planning is priority number one, and then you can start generating then the artifacts, and then you can go in the next iteration to the next second priority list of features as well. So these are the other advantages of having these export.
So as we see in the next sheet, there are requirements generated. Uh, so these requirements are coming from our stakeholder elicitation PDF. Sorry, stakeholder requirement PDF, and we have added several attributes based on the yeah the standard template as of now used. So we add several attributes like type, group, subgroup, complexity, and priority, and so on. So type is functional, non-functional, and information, and so on of the requirement. Group, we segregate the requirement into the product and process, and subgroup. Also, we segregate the requirement into the relevant to the software, hardware, mechanical, and so on. And complexity again, like low, medium, high, and priority also low, medium, high. So on. So this is all the attributes are defined for our demo purpose, but this can be customized based on the need of the actual project. And also there are several attributes can be, the value of the attributes can be added and changed. So here we can see, like for example, there are several process related requirements which are segregated and added here is a process attribute and so on. And there are several technical requirements which are relevant to the product, again for the mechanical, software and hardware and so on. So all these requirements are elicited in this way. So this can be initially used for the project, and yeah, so this is how requirement elicitation works with our tool. So Falgun, if you
Perfect.
need to enter anything.
Yeah, then maybe if we can go back to the slides.
Okay, just a minute, I will share my screen again.
So that was the requirement elicitation tool in action, colleagues. So as you can see, Of course, it was a subset of requirement that we had created for the demo. So you have one customer requirement document, which then can be which is a PDF format document, and that can be then analyzed with of course the first version, where you can see that different set of attributes are added in terms of the type, whether it is going to be a functional requirement, information, non-functional requirement. There is a feasibility analysis already there, where you say that whether the requirement is feasible, not feasible. Of course, it takes the input data from the customer requirements, and then there is also priorities defined. So these are some of the attributes that are defined from the requirement elicitation itself during the requirement elicitation phase. And you could see that the tool can generate these data. Of course, once the tool has generated these data, you could take this as the first version, and then you can start working on it. The biggest advantage of this is you already have a formatted data where most of the things are grouped, classified into more sensible groups of requirements in the features, and thereby you can then start having a discussion with your customer with this approach, and you can start clarifying things. Couple of user stories that we have. So we have this carAISuite tool in action. Moving on to the next slide, where we see that this tool has been working. So this tool has the requirement generation and the requirement gathering in different customers place as well. So we have been or rather our customers, we have been able to help our customers you know uh, generate certain requirements. So one of the user story from our German tier 1 customer is that they had a challenge of generating the system and the software specification. So they had a big challenge of not meeting the ASPICE compliance, and there we it was both ASPICE and cybersecurity compliant project, and there was a very strict deadline from the customer, which or their customer, which they had to oblige to. We were able to utilize the carAISuite tool to generate both the system requirements and the software requirements by analyzing the customer requirements and the stakeholder requirements. Couple of points to think of, or the highlight points here is that there were a lot of customizations that were required by our customer. So as Ronak mentioned, the tool can definitely be customized. In a few slides later, I will also show how you can also get your hands to the tool as well. Moving on to the next customer story. So this is another customer story where we also did a cybersecurity artifact generation, where we did provide, or rather the carAISuite tool itself generated different cybersecurity artifacts, the cybersecurity plans, the cybersecurity case, etc., which helped our customers to take the project further. Moving on to the next slide. Again, this is one of the requirement elicitation program itself with one of our Italian tier 1, where they had a bunch of requirements coming from their customer, and the tool actually helped in classifying the stakeholder requirement into different groups, extracted the features, provided the analysis of whether the requirement is complex, that is it having a low risk, high risk, medium risk. So all these things were done, because of which they were able to clarify all the open questions with the customer, and then they could potentially start off with the system requirement and the software requirements, which had a huge impact. Uh, all these things that what our customers say is that, of course, this is not a theoretical number, but based on the experience, the customers say that with one version of the tool, or one version of the output from the tool, at least 50 to 60% of the efforts are already reduced, because your engineers already get, or rather your team members already get the first version of the document, and on top of that they can start modifying things. Of course, AI is in the nascent stage, where not everything will be 100% compliant, but you already have 50 to 60%, or in some cases 70% of your efforts reduced, which you can easily take those time and use it for developing creative cool features in your product and also comply to different compliances. So this is what is all about the requirement elicitation program or requirement elicitation feature in carAISuite tool. Quick input for you. Moving on to the next slide. How can you get your hands on carAISuite tool? A simple three-step process. You could request a demo for the carAISuite tool either from our website, or you could write us directly to carAISuite at carniq.ai. Please do note this email, carAISuite at carniq.ai. Uh, Once you request a demo, it's going to be the first demo. You will have a look at the demo, and then we also offer a free POC. So we define a scope. Of course, when we say free POC, where the efforts would be, something less than a week of effort, where you could define your own problem, and we could help you run this POC and provide the solution where you can see the carAISuite working specifically for your need, customized for your need. Of course, it's free of charge as well. And just to kickstart the project, of course, we have to sign the NDAs and the required document, and then you get started with the first free POC version. So this is a three simple, easy step for you to get access to, the amazing AI tool. With this, we come to the end of the webinar, and I keep the forum open for any kind of questions and answers. So feel free to add your questions in the Q&A session, and we can pick, we have another 6 minutes, we can pick up some exciting questions, and we'll be very happy to answer. Me and Ranak will be very happy to answer. All right. Looks like there are no questions. If there are no questions, then I hope that we were able to, provide an informative session. I think one of you have a question. You have raised your hand. Maybe if you can type your question, that would be great. Okay, so I
You need
also
to
see.
type a question in Q&A tab, which can be seen above
Let me
in the
let me
toolbar.
just post a topic here. So you can see my post, and then you can start responding to my post with your questions. I think two of you had something, Rias and Tushar, so feel free to add your questions in. Okay, so let's see if we can somehow allow the mic for you guys if you want to ask the question. Let's start with Rias.
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi,
Mm.
Rias.
Yeah, where is the QA session in the chat? I couldn't see something
Oh,
that is not
okay.
enabled for me. That may be the problem.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
So
Then
my
let's
my
ask your question.
question
Yeah.
my question primarily, which model are you using? Which model is Gemini or OpenAI?
Okay, so just so that I understood your question, so you are asking what model is being used behind the carAISuite tool. Is this the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
question? Okay, very important and very good question. There are different options here. So maybe uh, in our first webinar, we did cover this topic. So when we talk about different solutions, we offer different kinds of solutions. So one is on-premise solution, and one is the on-cloud solution. So depending on what solution you choose, the models will be used. So if you are using on-premise solution, then you would have a custom model dedicated for you and that will be hosted on your custom site as well. I mean on your premise, and then we could use that. But if you choose an on-prem the cloud solution, then we have generic open source models on which we train some of our own data based on our experience, and those models will be utilized for behind the carAISuite tool. So just to give you a couple of examples, there are different models like Mistral's, Llama models. There are different models. So it depends. It depends on the solution that you would choose. Based on that, such models, different models will be used. And again, so these models will be again on top of those models will be there will be a lot of trainings done before the models can start delivering the output.
So if you said the on-premise model, so are you setting the on-premise model, or as a customer we have to set up? How?
We would definitely help you set up. The only thing is infrastructure. Infrastructure is required, so we would also give you the what is the infrastructure need, and if such things are available, and we will definitely help you set up these things. This comes as in the package of the complete tool itself.
Okay, then what is your what is your price? I mean, how
That's
are
a
you
good
charging?
That's a very good question. I think it's going to be tough to just answer that question without limiting the scope. So that's where the three-step thing comes into picture. So what we could also do is we could have a dedicated demo for you where we offer you a free POC where we can discuss your scope, and then we can decide on how we could go further. How does that sound?
Yeah, let me go next.
Perfect. Then one of our team member will contact you, and then we can take it up further.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? Maybe we can offer one more question as we are close to the end of the session. I think Tushar had a question, right? Tushar, your mic is enabled. If you have a question, you can share your question. Tushar, if you're speaking, we are not able to hear you. Yes, now we can hear you. Hi, Tushar.
Okay, yeah. There was some kind of problem, I don't know. Okay, so yeah, my question was related to again the data set. So as you mentioned, you have again used the data sets to train the module, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your LLM modules. So just wanted to know how big was the data set that you used to train that module, just to understand, I mean, so that it can usually consider all the general aspects of the requirement, right, that are
Mm-hmm.
being, let's say, used in the industry for
Mm-hmm.
the, let's say, normal issue projects.
Fantastic question. So, just for the sake of all the audience here, I'll also quickly summarize your question. So, your question is on what kind of data set and what is the size of the data set that we have used for the training of the model.
Exactly.
Fantastic. So, as you know, since we are talking about European law and German law, GDPR comes into picture. So, not all the data that we have can be used or will be used for training the model. So, this is where we do respect the law of the land. So, this is where when we are talking about training the model, so based on the open source model, we train with a limited set of automotive knowledge. Now, when we are talking about automotive knowledge, just to make sure that the model understands, when we talk about embedded systems, it is not an industrial product, but it is an automotive product. So such things will be trained,
Mhm.
and it also will be trained on the techniques, not really the core features, but on the techniques itself. Like when we talk about an ECU, what kind of techniques will be used for requirement generation, what kind of critical features will be used. So these are the high level training that we do on the model, on top of which of course there are custom algorithms which will run behind the carAISuite tool, and that delivers the output.
Okay, okay, understood. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And just small question, just follow-up question
Mhm.
out of curiosity. So does your this tool also considers the traceability part according to ASPICE?
It does. So stay tuned on our updates for our next webinar, where we talk about maybe the software requirement generation. There you could also see the traceability as well, because since today we did the requirement elicitation,
Mhm.
we still don't have anything to trace to, because we are just having the requirement elicitation from it is nothing but the stakeholder requirement. But further artifacts, whenever we generate from this,
Mhm.
traceability will also be ensured.
Okay, okay. And I'm then considering it also make sure that it also generates the work product that is useful as an evidence, let's say for ASPICE assessment.
That is correct.
Okay, okay, understood. Okay, yeah, thank you very much for your information.
Thank you so much for your questions. Perfect. Then, colleagues, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know each of you have joined from different parts of the world, morning, evening, night. We really appreciate your presence, and we hope that there's a big takeaway from this webinar in terms of requirement elicitation, and also what AI can do in the field of requirement elicitation. And please feel free to write us a short email requesting the demo, and grab your free POC. Thank you so much. Have a nice rest of the day, and take care. See ya.
You. Bye.